Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to And the Women Can podcast, a podcast about women showing up for other women, one story at a time. Yes, we are continuing this series of me sharing my story to motherhood. I hope you're hanging in there with me. All right, so today I'm gonna share my birth story and how, again, women kept showing up for me. So I guess for these few episodes, you hear, I think eternally, it's the same type community that you hear about. But first, before we get into it, let me read a poem that captures the spirit of today's episode. Um, it is called Marriage of Friends. It is by, hang on 1 minute. It is by, is it called Banner Bro Right? Banner Bro Right. Yes, I think so. I think if I have captured it wrongly, please give me a shout and correct me. Marriage of Friends. My life is filled with souls of women I love. The ones who make my belly ache from laughter, who catch my tears, who show up on my doorstep to celebrate and grieve, who defend me when I'm unkind to myself. These women will love my children, dance as we age, protect my secrets, share in my joy, sing even when we are sinking in sorrow. They walk close, promising their lives to me, a marriage without a wedding, a commitment without a ring. This, if you have these women too, remember, the soulmate is a wonderful thought. But look how beautiful these love stories are. Look how they make you full. Boop, 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 boop. It's like those words are just like a hug to me. I'm always fascinated by creatives and people who write, people who, creatives like Dee, my producer. She's a proper creative, media mogul. That's her definition, and that's how she describes herself. And it's real. It's real. So yeah, let's get into it. My birth story. Where do we start from? Okay, so we talked about how I reached the third trimester, and I'll start from here. When I had my scans, even before I got pregnant, they were like, I think we're seeing something. It looks like a fibroid outside your uterus. And I was like, oh, okay. I'd never had a fibroid before, but I know a lot about fibroids because many of my friends have had them. And if you are a listener of the Feministing or Malawian podcast, my co-host, shared a story about her journey of getting a mastectomy because she had fibroids as well. And we had a specific episode called Talking About Fibroids with Umba. So you should check it out on the Feministing or Malawian podcast. Yeah, and then during all my other scans then showed that I had a fibroid outside of my uterus, and then the anatomy scan showed that is the one way they check everything, the heart of the baby, etc. It showed that I had a fibroid next, like a few centimeters to my cervix as well. So yeah, so there were because of that, then I had made a decision to say, I'm gonna be honest with you. All the stories I've heard about giving birth vaginally have not been cute, okay? They have been like, oh God. And I'm just like, listen, I have lived alone for this is me digressing. I've lived alone for a long time, and I have experienced physical pain in different ways. And pain, when you experience it without a witness, you start getting used to ignoring pain in general. Because, for example, when I hit my foot on a corner of a door, you know how that hurts. But there's no one to be like, oh, sorry, and you're all alone. So you just keep it moving. So, but at the same time, if I can, I want to avoid pain. So I was like, this thing is looking more like, yeah, we are going to go for C-section. And I do know that the history of C-section is not exactly pretty. Um, in some, it was introduced as, for emergency if you have failed to deliver vaginally, but also it has been turned into an aspect of doctors or hospitals pushing for it because it's more money. It means more money. If you have a C-section, you pay more when you're giving birth. Yeah, but I'll be honest with you, this is a safe space. I was scared of the pain. So when they were like, oh, you have these fibroids, and I did, when I traveled, I was privileged enough to travel to the UK and have a private scan again, and they were like, yeah, I don't want to tell you what to do, but the way the fibroid is looking close to your cervix, it might maybe affect your it might affect how you give birth. So I was like, thank you. So C-section, they were like, and we're not saying you should do a C-section, but discuss with your gynecologist. And I'm gonna confess, listen, I have been to several gynecologists in Malawi. My file is in many places. So yeah, it's just, yeah. And yeah, and my gynecologist, shout out to her, she was amazing, Dr. Priscilla of Euromed Clinic. And yeah, so that's where I planned to give birth. And so what had happened was, we had a date, we had a set date and everything, and it was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go, this is the date. And but there were, I don't want to get into it deeply, but there were some issues of security and issues of confidentiality that happened at the clinic. And I was, so yeah, I was gonna give birth there, but I was a little stressed. I was a little stressed about it because I was like, okay, we have agreed on C-section and I'm going to be in my most vulnerable state. But there were just some people that I didn't want in the room as I was that vulnerable and unable to do stuff. So, yeah. And again, one day, again, I was surrounded. Remember, I'm gonna be honest, I was going through the hardest time in my life, but I was also really surrounded and covered by my friends, so in my community. So one day I decided, and this was like 3 weeks to to the date, the due date that I was given. And that week, I was not feeling great, and everyone knew, all my friends knew, and they were asking me. Actually, one friend, Ruth, she kept pushing me, you need to go to the hospital. You need to go to the hospital to check what it is. And I was like, this is just, the end of it. From what I have read from Google, I'm approaching the end. It's gonna be hard. My body keeps getting weaker, so it's all part of pregnancy. And I was also fortunate that the fibroids did not cause me any pain, although my gynecologist did warn me that you might experience pain and we can just manage that pain. And the plan was that when we have the C-section, we can also see if it's safe to remove the fibroids. And I was like, okay, cool. And then one Saturday, I wasn't feeling great, particularly great. And remember, I had planned to give birth elsewhere, but close to where I live, I also had a file at a certain gynecologist. And I was like, okay, since I have a file, let me just go in for a normal checkup. Because, yeah, my friends have been pushing me to go to the hospital to get myself checked because I'm not feeling great. So I did go. And when I went, I was like, I haven't been feeling great. And he was like, oh, okay, let's see. Checked everything, like, okay, it's looking okayish, and the baby is full term. And yeah, a full term to the point that you can have the baby now if you wanted, etc. And I was like, I'm really not feeling good. And if that is possible, and he was like, oh, maybe you can wait a bit, but I think, yeah, let's go ahead. I did feel like he was not telling me fully what was happening. And I was like, okay. And he was like, and I was like, can you do today? And I was like, yep, today. today. Let's go ahead today. And I went with my friend again. It was just me and my friend Amanda. And the other people that knew were my friends Gonzagalani and Ruth. Ruth, the one who kept pushing me. So we came back home. We packed the bag, me and Amanda, and we went. And so it was that afternoon, 3 weeks to my due date, that I gave birth to my child. I named him Andwele because, well, it's a Nyakusi Nkonde language, because I thought, okay, I need, in my mind, my whole life, I was like, okay, I'm going to have this kind of child. It's going to be a girl, ETC, mini me, but it was a boy. So it means God brought me literally. I feel like the universe brought him to heal me, but I don't want to put not too much pressure on you, my baby, when you listen to this, but mommy loves you. So we went into theater, and Mandy came with me. She was the only one who was close to me, who knew that I was going into the delivery room. I was deliberate and intentional in not informing my family, because there were some complications, because I didn't want to put my family in a position where they had to feel like they had to tell people. They're very much oriented and very much lean towards, we are all family, and everybody should know. And I wanted to have a private experience giving birth, and I also wasn't sure if everything was going to be fine, and I wanted to just be covered by my community and enjoy the experience without being stressed. So he came in at 3:15 exactly, and after he was born, Mandy took him away with the nurse, and when she came back, apparently, so this is a woman, the only woman in my life who has ever seen my uterus. I even have never seen it. So I'll have her on the podcast to share the story, because she does share that she walked into the room and she found it just in the open, and they were removing stuff from it, and she was like, "What's happening?" She was like, "What is happening?" And they told her that, we are conducting a mastectomy. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Remember, I always butcher these words. And then the other doctor translated to say, we are removing fibroids. And my friend Mandy was like, "Oh, did you know?" I was like, "No." So they did not tell me they were going to remove fibroids. And one thing that was also interesting. Yes, that needed to be removed, but I think they needed to get my consent. But they removed. Remember, I told you they were seeing 2 fibroids, one outside the uterus, one close to the cervix. Apparently, I had fibroids in my uterus, like in the lining of my uterus where my baby was. They removed about 10, apparently, and one was as big as a grapefruit. And they showed it to me. It was huge. And I was just like, what? And apparently the scans couldn't show that, because especially when he had grown in my womb, so it couldn't be shown. I was like, oh my Lord, okay. I was terrified. And and then the baby was born. I did see Mandy took a video for me, and he had the cord around his neck. Sorry, TMI, and they removed it, and it was like, and he went straight on oxygen. And and then, guys, for 6 hours I couldn't move my lower side because of the, is it the epidural or whatever similar meds to that they had put in my spinal cord that killed my lower bit. And I was so vulnerable. I am used to being in control. Listen, this whole journey tested me. I was like, what is this? I cannot do anything. And it did give me, an like more enlightenment to when we talk about disability, that you can experience disability at different points. And the way we see disability, we see it in it's happening there, it cannot happen to me, or it's not happening to me. And the way we define it is so narrow. But I don't want to preempt. I have to bring in someone who we can have that conversation. Uh, yeah, so after that, that's when 24 hours later, I informed my family and other friends, yeah, who needed to know that he's here, he's here. And oh, my baby, he came in fighting, he came in, and we stayed in the hospital for a day. And guess who was sleeping in the hospital? Hey, Ruth. Mandy, like literally they were exchanging, like they knew that they needed to be there. They were literally hovering around me, literally taking care of the baby, and I was just there. And yeah, so it was such a beautiful experience. And then a day after we were to be we were discharged, and immediately I came home that same day. The mother's instinct already kicked in. I touched his body. He seemed very hot, and I was like, no, something is wrong again. My friend drove me to the hospital, back to the hospital. And they found us. We were both really sick. We had bacterial infections, and I had infected him. Remember, I told you I was not feeling great just that week? Yep, that was it. I had a bacterial infection. So, ladies, gentlemen, and siblings, when you feel your body is telling you something is wrong, don't be like me. Go to the hospital and get tested. And I hope you're surrounded by friends who will push you to do it. So we went, and so his first week of life, he was on antibiotics, man. 2 shots, 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And my friends, it was my friends who were driving me to the hospital every time, because I couldn't drive because of the C-section thing. Some things that I would do differently, I would want to have more information, and more information really, especially the aftercare once you get out, because I was released and I had no information. It was one of my friends again who had Mandy, who recommended a midwife who does house calls, who is the one who was like, oh, have they told you when you're going to remove your stitches? I'm like, nope. Oh, luckily enough, she had the contacts. So it was another woman who showed up for me and who gave me the concept of community. And if you remember, even in our in villages, etc., it's women, like, what do we call them, D? Or the ones, midwives? What do we call it in Chichewa? The ones that go, that help you. Yeah, no, yeah, it's another one that help you. I will remember it, that help you to give birth, and then that tell you how to take care of yourself, etc. Like this woman came, Rachel, shout out to her. She came, she's a registered midwife and she does house calls. Um, yeah, she came and she helped me. She taught me how to latch him properly. She taught me how to clean my wound and when to remove the stitches. She taught me even how to the right way to put the diaper. I was like, okay, this is the right way. She was like, okay, do you know why these are there? Because you want to prevent explosions, etc. So she taught me the different types of milk that I'm producing, how to hold my baby, how to bath my baby. She gave him the first bath and taught me how to do it. And I was terrified. And then, guess what? I didn't have to cook. My friends were sending me food. Mandy, shout out to her. She used to come to work here, like she would let me sleep and take care of the baby. And let me tell you, the first few weeks, I had the shock of my life, realizing that I will never sleep again as I used to sleep. I missed sleep so much. The baby would just stay up, and there was a night where he was crying and I was crying. I was like, now what do we do? I was just like, I can't do this. Nobody warned me that I was not gonna be able to ever sleep again. But and then I went back to my friends. I was like, you did not tell me this. They were like, don't worry, it will pass and we have you. And it has gotten better. And Another thing that we don't talk about a lot is the different kinds of pain that you experience in your new body, apart from the C-section pain. Like, for example, I had the stiffest neck, like my neck hurt to the point that every time I was carrying my baby, I felt this sharp pain that, and they gave me these really strong meds that I couldn't even take because I was thinking of the baby. Everything that you take, it gets to the baby. But I was like, how come nobody told me about this? And my friends booked massages for me to feel better. And then another thing that shocked me was the amount of pain that came from my wrists. Listen, I couldn't lift anything apart from, and for the baby, I had to lift the baby just because I have to do it. But it was sharp. And then when I went to see a Dr. Banza, who's a bone specialist, what? Yes, orthopedic. I went and he was like, immediately he was like, oh, I know what this is. Um, it happens to women a lot after they give birth, and I'm like, how come I never knew about this? Oh, it doesn't happen to all women, but it happens to enough women for you to say you know about it. And he gave me these expensive shots, 2 shots, and the pain went away just like that. Apparently, your tendons get swollen, etc., and the pain just went just like that. And I was shocked. I was shocked. I was just like, okay, I never knew this would happen. But yeah, another interesting thing about that birth story was how shocked my family were that they were not part of the delivery, and I want to talk about that a little bit, because I think we have, and it's beautiful how we treat birth. It's like it's supposed to be this community thing, it's supposed to be this communal thing. But when you strip it down to what it really is for me, and for the time of my life that I was going through, it was just a scientific procedure that has to happen on your body. And also, you can define what community and family you want, your definition of family in that time. And for me, I felt safer in being in community with my friends, because throughout the very, very difficult time of my life, my 35th year, they had held me and allowed me to be and given me so much grace that they're the ones I wanted to have that experience with. And that's my explanation. That's my explanation for it. Um, yeah, the women came as they always do. They did come, and throughout uh, this time, I have seen women show up for me in so many different ways in terms of helping me to take care of this child and feeling like it's not just my child, it's our child. And I'm so glad my child will grow up with a community of women who will embrace them, who will love them. Some of them they have brought him books, they have read him books, they have and one thing as well, I'm gonna share a cute moment with my mom. I and my mom, we have a great relationship, but we have some fundamental differences. And we have had to go through a time when she has wanted to show up for me in one way, and I have wanted her to show up for me in another way. And I have um I have not enjoyed, but I have stood my ground in terms of the boundaries, in building boundaries and teaching her how I want her to show up for me and my child. And now they have the best relationship. She comes to read for him, and she really enjoys that. That's all she talks about. Oh, hi, how is it? Today we're gonna come and read about this. And it's been beautiful to watch that relationship unravel. And it's also been beautiful to see that even though I'm a single mom and raising my child um, um, in an unconventional way, I guess, because once you take out that heterosexual partnership, because that's what it is, right? You are supposed, according to society, you're supposed to raise, it's supposed to be mom, dad, child. So for me, it's mom, child, an army of women, feminists, and then my family who are going to raise him primarily. And of course, the father is also in his life, but it's different because we do not live together. So yeah, and I'm really proud of that community, and I'm proud of how my friends have shown up. The women have shown up for me. Cute stories. Dee will even send a rider to bring me jollof rice so that I don't have to cook and I have to take care of the baby. And I've had to cancel some plans because, for example, I need to take care of the baby, and the grace has been extended. But I've also been intentional in terms of uh, adjusting my life in a way that my friends can still feel that they're very much, and the kind of friends that I have, they'll fight to feel that they are part of my life, and I will do the same for them. So I've had to adjust some things. So for example, I turned 36 in January, and normally I would say, oh, we're gonna have a dinner party, we're gonna have that, but I had to do karaoke in the afternoon. And my friends showed up. I had to have a karaoke party and a games party in the afternoon because the baby is here, and my friends showed up. And yeah, that is what it has meant in some ways, making those kinds of adjustments where I recognize that I have my child, but I also want to be there for my friends and to be happy and to have fun and enjoy this life, because life you can only have one. And yeah, and choose your people and make sure they know and enjoy being with them. And yeah, that is what I have done. So that is my best story. And I'd love to hear from you as well. uh, how was your best story? If you've had children, or if you've had a child, if you've wanted one, please feel free to also share with me. If you do not have children and you do not want children, what has been your experience of mothering? Because before I had my child, I did mother my friends' children, and I continue to do that. I continue to co-parent with my friends' kids. So yeah, I also would like to hear from you. Ah, again, as you have heard, the women came. They came and they showed up for me. And I'll forever be grateful to the group of women in the community that I have curated. So it's been me, Lusungu, on And the Women Came podcast. I hope I will see you again on the next episode. And please feel free to write me on andthewomencame@gmail.com, and the links to our social handles will be below. So please do follow and engage in the conversations. How have women shown up for you? See you soon. Until next time. Bye.